Hi, you're watching Crafts at Home with Lisa. Today we're going to look at how to build a rose and make a rose from cutters from this very easily accessible on the internet set of 4 of them. So I've mixed 2 colours of clay, Fimo clay, which is oven bake, and I've cut one of each size. So I'm just going to go through and show you how to soften up the edges, so ready for us to put them together, and then I will show you one and then I will meet you back when I've done the other 3. Right, okay, let's get started. So what you need is a sponge. This is an actual sponge that you'd use for fondant making. Like I've said in previous videos, fondant making is something that I used to do, so I do have a couple of these laying about the place. But as long as it's soft, to be honest, behind, not soft like a sponge, but like a piece of foam, if you can see that. Just so that when you're rubbing, just do the biggest one for you. When you're rubbing them, it gives it something to go into, otherwise it'll end up being too hard and it won't do it properly. So my best friend, told you in the past, I like corn flour. Lots of corn flour, which will come off at the end after it's been baked and it gets sprayed. So it does sort of dull down, but it stops it sticking. Okay. Check you've done both sides, otherwise when you've squashed down and feathered out the edges on all of them, it will stick to your base. Alright, so remember this is with these 4, which you can buy offline fairly inexpensively. And they're your 4 sort of petal cutters. I will add on the end, after we've done this one, a single cutter, which I must have bought a while ago. These are single petal cutters, which we will do a video on single petal cutters afterwards. But I have somehow, in my move, managed to lose one of the petals, so you'll have to forgive me if there's a bit of a gap. But we will look at those in a different video. Okay, right, let's get started. So you've got your spongy thing underneath. You've now got your ball tool, ball one each end, big one and little one, and you've doused your rose petal in corn flour. Right, and then we're just going to go in circular motions around the edge, because you want it to, hold on to it, and I let mine fly about all over the place. You want it to just go like an actual, so just kind of around. I'm by no means a professional at this. It's a hobby, but it works for me. So if I can share something that works, and if it works for you, then I am all for it. Okay. So this colour, all I did was I mixed these 2 colours together. So it's a sparkly metallic pink, a light pink with some white in it that I've been mixing up all with the last couple of days, and I put it through my fantastic pasta machine, which I've said in previous videos I'm in love with. So I just bend over that when they get to this sort of size, because they are quite big. Look, I just bend over once just to sort of knock it to one side, so that otherwise you just keep crushing it, and you don't want to do that. So, right, there we go. So just literally round in circles around the edge. Do a little bit in the middle, otherwise the outside won't match the in, and you'll end up with a very fat petal in the middle, but not round the edge. Okay, there we go. So that's number 2 done. So I've flattened this one back out now, right, with the ball tool, and then fold this one in. And actually what I found is when I put them together, which we'll go through together later, it makes a nice curve, nice edge, being folded already. Okay, so we're just going to round the edge in. Just go round and round, round, so until it makes a nice sort of curl is what you're looking for. Okay, now the trouble is my clay has been sat for a little while. I cut it out earlier, and then I got visitation after visitation after visitation. The first being my daughter and my granddaughter and my son-in-law. Then my mum and my son was here. And it just becomes very difficult to do it. So actually mine's a little bit on the cracking side. Although Fimo this is Fimo oven dry clay. But it still does go a little bit hard. To get it to ease off, you just need to put it into the pasta maker and just a few times through. But obviously I've cut mine and I like the shape of it, and I like the patterns of the two different colours, and I don't want to lose that. So I'm just going to carry on and try and muck through and see what happens. So it may not come out as well as I would like it to, but we're going to give it a go. I did a light pink one earlier on, which I will show you. It's in a different room at the moment, but when we come back and we start building it all together, I will show you what it looks like. So I'm very pleased with it. It looks very pretty. So just try and sort of flatten these back out to where they should be. Okay, and then the last one on this one, and that's going to come off if I'm not careful. So the Fimo clay, like I say, it is good stuff. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that bit because I just don't want to end up losing a petal. I want them to stay. If this had just been rolled out, this wouldn't happen. This is pretty good. It's very good stuff, the Fimo. It's because I rolled it out a while ago. It's kicking off and moaning about what's happened, and I don't blame it. It's been sat here for a while. So just around the edges. That's just like that. Okay. So that shows you. So here we have now. This is the bigger petals. So this is what they're going to look like when they're done. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll meet you back here when I've done the others, and we can start putting them together. Okay. Hello, I just wanted to let you know and show you that I did have my 4 cutters ready and cut, which I did show you how to do the first big one. But as it happens, my Fimo had been sat too long, and it just wasn't letting me feather out the edges. So I've had to re-roll it, which I'm very disappointed about because I liked the way that the colours met and sort of melted together, but can't be helped. So I'm just going to show you how to and cut some new ones. So try and see what patterns there are, because it always makes nice for something different. Okay, that's stuck like I don't know what. There we go, it's number 1. Next size down, I'm going to have more light coloured, I think. So I just push it down. I had to sort of condition that and put it through the pasta machine because there was just no getting away from it. It was just not having a bar of it, and every time I tried to flatten one down and feather out the edges, it just ripped the petal off. So that's the second one. So third one, I think this one I'm going to have a bit of a darker colour. Oh, I even struggle pushing that down, unfortunately, these days due to my arthritis. Oh, stuck down like I don't know what. And then this last one I'm going to have, because it's the centre, got a dark one there, so I'm going to go with a lightish one for the centre. So one should look good against the other. Okay, there we go. It's starting to come off. Much more supple, much more easier to use. Do excuse my finger, I had to take my wedding ring off because every time I rolled out and flattened something out, it kept leaving a big mark in it. I've got a big silver wedding ring, but obviously due to suntan you can see that there was supposed to be one there. Okay, I just wanted as well to show you, this is the one I made earlier. So if you can see that, I've just moved the light a little bit so you can kind of get a, there we go. That's better. So this is what we're aiming for. Okay, so I'm going to get ahead now and go and flatten and feather out the edges on each of these, and then what I'll do is I'll meet you back here once I've done that, and then we can assemble them and put them together. You will need a cocktail stick when you're sort of ready to put them together, and something to hold that cocktail stick as well. Otherwise you'll find it very difficult, which you've got to keep taking it in and out as well to feed these up through the bottom. Bearing in mind this is oven dry clay, so it's got to hold itself until it's been through the oven. And I do have one that's for the green part of it. The only thing that concerns me about that is I've only got air dry on the green, so what I'm going to do is pop them through the oven, let them go hard, cool right down, and then with the green cut what we want, fit it, and then let it go hard afterwards. But we'll get this part done first and see how we get on then. I'm very pleased with that, if you can see it. That's what we're aiming for, and that's what we're going to make. Okay, I'll see you back when I've done all 4 of those. Right, hi everyone, glad we're back. So I've done all my feathering the edges, all 4 of them. So what you need to do first is make like a little triangle, a rounded triangle, just like that. So then you've got the bottom, which will be the bottom of it, and then the top there. Okay, so that's what we're going to use as our main middle bud. Okay, so I've got some quite thick sticks here. I don't know if I can find some. Oh, have a look. They might be a little bit too thick, I think, for what we need. Oh, there we go. Actually, they're a bit thicker. Okay, so I've made a hole in my sponge thing that will take it and we'll hold on to it. So what you want to be doing is just work it in. You want it to go quite far in, so you know it's on there good and sturdy. Find somewhere to put it where you know it's not going to tumble or... There we go, I've popped it in. Okay, and it'll hold it quite sturdily because you need to... Don't know that that's going to be a great... we're there now. Right, so what you want to do is pick the smallest one. Now I've got glue over here, which I've put everything into it. I'm cleaning everything off. That's grim. Okay, and an old brush, which I've got here. Now this is just PVA glue, so it will wash out if you let it go hard. It's probably easier to wash it before it gets to that point. Otherwise you end up with a very stiff brush, which is very difficult to spread the glue about. Okay, right, which mine is rock hard. Okay, just bend it about a bit and see if you can loosen it up. Right, so this small one we're going to start off. Believe it or not, the smaller ones are actually easier to hold, because what you'll end up finding is as you're sticking one petal on, the next one will be drooping off and you don't want them to tear off. So a little bit of glue in the middle. Now with these ones, because these ones wrap around the bud, so I'm just going to go a little way up each petal, especially at the edges. That's where you want to kind of really get it, along the edges. Okay, and then moving round along the edge again. Now, earlier on I did do these one at a time, but it's going to be much easier because these ones are so simply put on. I'm just going to do them all at the same time. Okay, now I've flipped it over, so then I've got glue over there. So what we're going to do, take your spike out, your stick, and you want to stick it through the middle of that. Turn it upside down, you'll be alright because you've popped it quite far on the stick, and then you want to hold it like so and start with your first one. So the first one you just want to wrap round, you don't want it too close though, just nice and kind of, if there's not enough glue on there, put a little bit more on, it won't hurt. Okay, I have this that I look at so that I can see it's just a pre-made one, it's a material one, but it gives me an idea. That's how I like my roses. So it just gives me an idea of how close to put the petals. Okay, next one. So literally each time you just kind of put in and sticking on those ones and just gently sort of peel the top of it back. Again, if it's not sort of sticking properly, add some more glue, it won't matter. Okay. And then with your faithful broken stick, which I've just put in PVA glue again, just pull out, just eke out the edges, so it just looks like it's just kind of opening, so you can just see it just like that. Then the next one, make sure that the bottom is quite tight, otherwise you'll end up with a saggy bottom. Nobody wants a saggy bottom. It makes it very difficult to finish it off if it's too saggy. So what I do is I put all mine on and then just sort of pull back the bottom and just make sure it's all nice and tight. Okay, so just wrapping it round, pushing so right at the bottom like so, because this is the one where you want it a bit more tighter than the rest. Okay, next one. Okay, I'm going to put some more glue on that one, up there, and the other side, just to make sure, like that. Pushing the bottom up again, so it makes sure it's nice and neat. See, that's what's happened. See what I mean? Now I've lost my last petal, it's fell off. So I'm going to make sure I've got enough glue nice and tight all around the bottom here, so that I'll be able to just pop it on there and it'll just look like it should be on there. And you won't be able to even tell, because if it was happening on the last one that was going around, then you'd be kind of in trouble, or I'd be kind of in trouble. But it's not. But this is what happens, because they kind of flop down, it makes it awfully hard to keep hold of all of them. So just squeeze the bottom, make sure everything's in where it should be, and there's no air in the bottom pieces, and it's well stuck. And then just make sure it's all nice. One should overlap the other. There should be no, right, and I like that. So that's what we've done with the first one. Okay. So now we're going to start with the next one, which is the next size up. Pop it back in the hole. So I've got somewhere to put, so you haven't got to lay it down. If you lay it down, it will distort the shape, and it'll probably flatten it. So I'm just wiping off any excess corn flour, because we all know how I am with corn flour. Bit of a nightmare. Okay, now these ones I'm not going to put glue on each petal until it's ready to go on, because it weighs them down, and this one's starting to get a little bit on the heavier side. But you do want to put glue around the base of it and just up the neck of each petal, like so. And then that will just make sure and ensure that it sticks really nicely to the bottom. Okay, I think my glue feels a bit sticky, so it's been there a while. Okay, so like the last one, find the centre roughly, turn it upside down, it's not going anywhere, and let it fall. Okay, make sure it's nice and tight. If you wanted to, you could use a tool and just tap it down nicely, because we've obviously put glue on this bit, so we know it's well on there. Okay, and then I sit with it like this, and then I'll just use the glue, and I'll start with the first one. Now this one is, you don't want all of this one stuck, so this is the start of it flaring out. So when you stick it on, just flare the top out of it a little bit. If it's a bit tattered and a bit torn, and don't worry about it. Not every petal leaf is the same, and certainly they get ripped, torn, and I mean that's part of a petal leaf. It makes it look more realistic. A little bit of glue under each side, and remember, use your tool. You don't want it all the way stuck. I don't know what I've done with, oh there it is. Okay, you want it kind of flaring back, not too much because this is only number 2. Okay, just a little bit along the very top. So you've got to define between the petals. Okay, moving on to the next one. I'm going to paint, glue just up. Make sure you get the very sides because that's what will generally be sticky. Okay, so right into that side, and then we're just going to roll it up. Remember, one petal goes over the other, always must go over the other, and then stick the sides up. So if it's a little bit baggy this time, it doesn't matter, as long as the bottom is tight and is all nice and stuck down well. So that one looks like quite a nice one there, look. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. So each cutter has got 5 petals per cutter. Okay, I will do a video of one that I've got single cutters, like I said earlier, and we'll see the comparison of what comes out and what looks, how much more different it looks. But it gives you an idea of how many you've got to cut with each size. So I'd have to cut 5 of each size that I've got. Okay, so that one's done. Moving on to the next one. Again, make sure you get those sides nicely, otherwise it will not stick. Okay, and do not go all the way up, just I go up about 2/3, and then flip it up. That goes over the top of the last one. See how it's starting to flare out on its own now, if you can see that. And I've still got one more to go, so we're going to glue this last one. Like I say, they can be a little bit unpredictable, the last sort of couple, because all the weight's kind of on them and everybody else is sort of stuck at the top. 2/3 again, and then just push it up. So it should just cover both sides now. Okay, and then just roll the top down, making sure the bottom is nice and tight. Like a tight bottom. Don't want any saggy ones, that's for sure. Right, and then just go around and just turn down. It's easier to turn them down now than what it is in a minute, because obviously you've got another petal in your way then. Okay, so just turning them down. Some of them have got rolls in them, so you literally just roll them like this. If you have trouble rolling them, some people use a cocktail stick and just sort of roll it underneath, and that seems to work for them. I'm lucky, I just seem to be able to have the knack of rolling them. Some I'm going to leave flat, some I'm just going to roll half, and some I'm just going to put little points on. Okay, so that's what we're left with now. Okay, so that's after the, I'm not sure about that. Might pick that, pull that off, you know, that bit on the last row. Anything you're not happy with, just have a play about with it, and like I've always said in the past, take your time, because if you rush it, you'll be able to tell and it just won't look as good. So keep it nice and steady. Just play with it. Any bits you're not happy with them, pair of tweezers, just pull the edges off a little bit if they're a little bit rough for your liking, and then just roll them outwards. Okay, so back into the stand. Okay, I've got something going on here. What's going on here? Ah, 2 different rows. Right, that'll stay in there. I don't turn generally the main set that was going around. The original small one that went round the bud, I like to keep that tight, well, tightish around the bud. Just sort of sweep it back inwards. Although I like to make sure it's open up enough that you can see it. Right, so we're going to use the next size down. Sweep off all the corn flour because I have a lot on there. Okay, so just gently sweep them over. Now this one, when I was rolling it out, I managed to split half of one of the petals where it's attached at the neck. So I don't know how that's going to fare. So what I might do is stick that one on first. Okay. So again, you're going to put me brush in the glue again. Blinking egg. Right, so we're going to do what we did before. We want to glue the middle, just going into the necks of each petal. Okay. Right, now which one was it I had to glue earlier? That one, I think. I'm going to start with that one. So, first off, take your thing out, put it in the middle like we did before. Turn it upside down and let it fall all the way down. That's it. And then with your brush, or you could use a paintbrush if you wanted to, just sweep it down gently. Don't push it too hard in case you push the whole thing off of the stick. Now I'm putting mine in the oven on the stick, so when they come out, I hope they come off the stick, let's put it that way. Right, now is the one I was going to put on first. Now I've lost it completely. Oh, I must have glued it good earlier because I can't find it. Well, let's start with this little one then. Okay, so glue, this time we're only going to go about halfway up with this one. And then just stick it on, like you do with the others, and let it roll out. This one, if you wanted to just pinch the edge, just a little bit, you can do. That is just how the petals are. So these ones can fall away quite loosely now. As long as they're stuck at the sides and at like halfway, well, yeah, about halfway up. That works very well. Next one. It doesn't actually take too long to make them when you sort of get on a roll of doing it. It's not too bad. Okay, so that's the second one. I don't know who that is ringing me at this time of night. Probably my son or my daughter. Okay, that's number 3. And remember, you've only got 5 petals per one. Okay, now I like to put little creases in them, like so, and a little roll. Goodness me, they're very loud, aren't they? I don't know what he's on about, but I don't know what that is. I think I should order a coffee at this point whilst they're in the kitchen. Okay, and then rolling this one down. See how it just rolls down nice and neatly. Okay, and then we've got one more to put on, which I'm going to put on now, and then that's that one done, and then we can get on to the very final one. Okay, I'm just going to go and shut the door, bear with me, because that is just shockingly loud, and I don't really want to know what they're talking about. Okay, just make sure it's nice and tight at the bottom. See how it's not it's not fully stuck down, so you've got about halfway up is what you want. Okay. Oh goodness, now my daughter's up. She's just been pulled a tooth, well, her back tooth just fell out. So we've had tears and blood off of her in a panic. She doesn't do blood very well. See how that one's split? I like that. Right, let me just shut that door. Hang on, 2 seconds. Goodness me. Even at this time of night, we still can't get any peace. Right. Now, if you look at this one, and I show you this one, this row that we've just done is, see how they're all rolled over? And they're curled over, all of them. And then this row we're about to do, they sort of tweak and pinch the edge of the row, edge of the petal, on each one. I think that looks very pretty, but I'm going to roll these ones over now. Let me get a cocktail stick so I can show you and see if we can have a go at doing it between us. Yeah, There we go. Ooh. So I think what they do is just kind of roll it around the cocktail stick. And then if you roll the cocktail stick, once it's kind of on there, look. So you kind of roll it on and then just thumb under and it will roll them around. So you can move it around in this thing. So this petal here is split into two, but that's okay. So I'm going to have one rolling that way and one rolling that way. So there's kind of two there, like so. And then I'm just going to put half a roll on this one. I just feel like it looks like it's like so. There we go. I'm just going to pop a little bit more glue under there because I just don't like the way that's sort of hanging back. Okay, so now we've got the last row we're going to do now. I'm just going to pull that one out a little bit there. There we go. If you look at a rose, a real rose outside, I've only got one, which we've got a blue moon out in the back garden, which we recently, well I say recently, in the last 3 months, 4 months it must be, lost our old dog Harley Bear to arthritis. And we bought that, that's his, and that's where we've hidden all his toys underneath and his collar. Very, very, very sorely missed. But that's the only rose I've got in the garden. I used to be a big rose person, but I kind of lost the momentum of them. I like passion flowers and that now, fast ramblers, which I will do a video of my garden at some point, because it is very, very beautiful, and I hope it would inspire others, and you'll be able to see what I mean about the passion flowers. Okay, so we're going to do the same with this one, through the bottom, like that, turn it upside down, straighten the petals out, and then stick it down. Oh no, mine's come off. Oh no, that's not a good sign. Oh dear. Wasn't a good sign, was it? If I push it back on, I wonder if I can salvage it. I've pushed it back on now, but obviously, see what I mean? It's flattened some of the leaves. Oh, not leaves, petals. So we'll just kind of go through and stick them back up. So this is what can happen. It's very annoying, but it does happen. Okay, so we'll pull those back out. Oh, it's not too bad. Oh, I think I've managed to salvage it. Doesn't look too bad at all. Okay. I have to say before I carry on how naughty I was in the last video I put on, which was about my new shopping haul, which I have actually got another shopping haul coming this next week, that I went to Hobbycraft with Lucy, and I told you Lucy's name wrong, and she came around and said to me, who's this person? Because my craft name is Lucy Just Adds Colour, not what I said the other day. So I do apologise to Lucy and my viewers and hers. I got the name completely wrong. I don't know what I was doing or what I was thinking. So I do apologise, and actually it's Lucy Just Adds Colour. So there is my mass apology, and I do apologise to my best friend for getting her YouTube name wrong. Sorry. Right, so now we've got that back on. I'm not going to turn it upside down because I don't want it to fall off again. Just be aware of what happened. See, it does happen. It does happen to everybody. And if they say it doesn't, then that's a big fat lie. It did what it did. There's nothing I can do about it. We've managed to save everything from that. We've still got our rolls. We've still got all of that. Everything looks good. So we're going to stick this one up now, like this. And we're going to start. Now these ones are put on very, very loosely. So we're only going to glue 1/3 of each petal. Okay. Make sure you get your edges, because you do want it to glue and stick. And then this one we're just going to literally roll it back. Big rolls. Okay. Now I've tried doing these without having a wooden stick up there at the centre of them, and it is impossible. So do use the sticks. I mean, it's great because at least you've got something to hang on to, so it doesn't look like you've just kind of held onto the base of it, because it will never look anything at all. Because without even realising it, holding onto it like that, you will end up squeezing it. So just pop a stick in, it is worth it, even if it comes off like mine just did. Okay, so has that one just come off? It's just come down. Okay, I'm not having much luck here. Okay, perhaps my glue's gone funny or something. Okay, that one's up. Right, I'm going to stick that one back up. And that one up. It's because the leaves, the petals get heavier the bigger they are. So these petals are quite heavy now. So it's just really, you have to work as quick as you can on this actual one. We can bend them down in that afterwards. We just need to get them stuck on, just to start with. Okay. There we go. And this one. Okay, and bend that one down as well. If you bend it down as you go, and then last but not least, this one. So this is your last layer that you've got going on now. Okay, so that's that one on as well. So just gently, mine's still very, very uneasy on the bottom. Just squeeze them together, make sure they're well glued on. And then these outside ones, just pinch them. Or roll them, it's up to you, whatever you prefer. But they're the ones that are supposed to be kind of hung down. Like so. Okay. I don't know what's going on with that. The other good thing about a cocktail stick is you can actually use them as a tool. It's just a cheap, great tool to use if you've got nothing else at all. They're good for that. Right. So just check the bottom to make sure it's kind of up there and it's straight. Like so. And then just roll it if you want it rolled. Or, see, that one's rolled. But they must kind of hang down. But not too much. It's a happy fine line, really, because they're the outside ones, so they're kind of your droopy leaves, what I call droopy leaves, droopy petals, sorry, petals. Right, now that, to me, looks pretty good. I'm very pleased with that. So I'm going to let the glue flash off a little bit and find out what's going on out in the kitchen. And then once the glue's flashed off, I will meet you back here and we'll pop a little bit of colour onto it. What's going on with this one then? A little bit of colour onto it and we'll go from there. That's it. Right, so that's what I've been left with and that's what I've done. So I don't know if you can see that really well. I'm very pleased with it, although I'm about to lose another petal. Stick back up there. And you. Okay. Just kind of squeeze it on without squeezing, if that makes sense. See, it does happen to everybody. Sometimes they can be a bit awkward. Sometimes a little bit more glue is needed. Or you could use, I've got some Fimo glue here, Fimo gel. That's very good. But I find that because that's oven dry, I find that PVA glue goes off quicker. Okay. Right, so I'll meet you back here. I'm going to let that glue flash off and dry up a little bit to make sure no others come off. So then we can go on and do a little bit of colour. See what happens there. Okay, folks, see you in a minute. Right, hi, I've sorted all the children out. Okay, so back to it. So my rose now I'm quite happy with. Got some pinches in it, got some curls going on. Really liking it now, got a couple of splits there. I quite like that. So these are the paints that I use. This is how I got this beautiful colour. Can you see that? It's all shimmery. Really pretty on there. This is how I got it. Now these are food paints for fondant. So I'm going to be using pearlescent white, pearlescent cerise, which is like a pink colour, and they're all metallic, and pearlescent baby pink. So I might just use the white and the baby pink, I'm not sure, but I think we could probably get away with the cerise because the petal is actually quite a dark pink. So I like to use that, and I like to use a little bit of water because, or blinking heck, it looks a little bit dark. You can use a little bit of water and it just eases it back. So we're going to start off with a darker colour. Okay. I think I'm going to go with a darker colour in the centre a bit more. So all I do is wet my brush. I've got my piece of kitchen roll here. And then with what's in the lid is all you really need. And then just gently wipe it round. Just here and there. Just use whatever's in the lid. It really is pretty. It's a lovely colour. And because they are metallic, they just kind of, they just really give it, bring it to life, shall we say. So just going outwards like that, and then what I sort of tend to do is empty my brush. Don't forget to get right inside the petals if you can, like that. Okay, and then I dip it in a little bit of water. And then if you go across it and just brush it gently with a piece of water, with a little bit of water, look at that, it just sparkles it up a little bit, and it, rather than making it look like it's just been plopped on there, it just spreads it out a little bit more evenly, which I quite like. Now do remember, it will make everything sticky. So whatever you're brushing on, water, whether it be the food colourings, whichever it is, do be aware that you will be making everything a little bit stickier than what it was. Okay, and it might stick some petals together. If you've got it one way as well, don't forget to turn it round. Go back in the lid. If there's not much left in the lid, obviously go in the bottle, around the neck. Okay, and then just at the edges, like so, down. I've kind of touched each leaf, each petal, sorry, with it. So that's enough for me. And then I'm going to just wipe my brush round, just give it a bit of a wipe. It just makes it go so much further, as you can see it. Much nicer. And rather than, like I say, it looking like you just sort of plopped it on, it just spreads it out really nicely. And it just looks really nice. Well, I think it does. I mean, you might be different. I'm no expert or anything like that. You might like something different. Do what it is you want to do. So I'm going to go with a little bit of, so if you can see that now, look. That's just with the cerise, which is the darker one. I'm going to go with a little bit of light one now. So remember, clean your brush, otherwise you cross-contaminate your paints. Okay. Okay, so a bit of a light one now. So if you can see it, I just kind of plop it on. And because this has already got water on it, it just kind of spreads out really nicely on its own, without any help from you or anything like that. Take it from the lid, take it from the bottle, wherever you need to take it. And this one just is, because it's a lighter pink, it just sort of lightens everything up a little bit. Because I want sort of a variety of different sort of shades on there. I don't want it all one shade. Okay, and this should dry. I mean, at the moment I'm not turning my oven on for just 2 roses. I will have some other bits, so it will dry on there before it goes into the oven, which isn't a problem. I will let you know what happens to the sticks though, because obviously I'm keeping mine on the sticks. And I did just say to my husband, oh my goodness, what will happen to the sponge? So I'm a little bit worried about my sponge. So I'm going to put it in a smaller one, a cheaper one, which I've got, which is this little white one here. So if it does melt, oh no. And then we can go from there. I mean, this one's dry now, or the colouring on that one. So it's really, really pretty. I really like that one because it's really light. So I'm going to make some more roses. Going to have a whole bouquet, if you like, of sorts. Watch that the water doesn't make it too soggy. Make sure you're sort of taking off any excess. Again, turn it, otherwise you'll end up uneven colours. Alright. These colours are absolutely beautiful, and like I say, they are actually for fondant work, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It works very well on clay. I like using them, and they're not wasted. Just sort of sat in a drawer waiting for me to do a cake for somebody, which only happens sort of a couple of times a year. Alright, so I'll finish with that one. Now the only other one that I want to put on there is a white. I do have a cream, but this one I'm going to use a white pearlescent just to see what happens. I'm all about trying things out for the first time, so don't judge me. Clean my brush, especially as I'm going to dip it into white now. Okay, here we go. Into the lid. I'm just going to do some edges, just very simple, just very slightly some edges, just to see what happens. Again, take it from the bottle if you need to. I'm going to go along this with a little bit of water afterwards, because at the moment it's looking a bit like it's been plopped on, and I don't do plopped on. But I do like a difference in colour, so I'll go with it. So turn it, don't forget to turn it, otherwise you won't end up with, like I say, a bit of even colouring on it. So I'll dip it in some water in a minute. Okay, right, I'm happy with that, I think, where they all are. Give it a nice rub so it doesn't kind of sit in blobs. We don't do blobs. But if you can just see how that is looking at the moment, can you see where the actual white is? If I use water now, that will just blend it all together, which is what we're going to do. So always put your libs on, because like me, I'm a bit clumsy. You don't want to lose in it all, one of your colours and that. I mean, these aren't overly expensive, they're about £5, but I've had them for months, and months and months, and I've used them over and over and over again, and some of them it looks like they haven't even been touched. So they are definitely worth getting, because you use such a small amount of it each time. Okay, just getting in there. So I can feel it's starting to get a little bit sticky soggy now, so I need to be a little bit careful. So just on the edges of the ear, just a little bit of water. See how it just eases it back, spreads it out, and it looks like actual colouring then. So rather than it looking like it's just been plonked on. So if you can see this white bit here, it looks a bit plonky plonked. Plonkety plonked. Okay. Just sort of sweep it downwards so it's underneath and sweep downwards. There you go. Same with this one. Got quite a lot on it, and it just, there you go, it just kind of mixes it all together. Looks really nice, because don't forget you've already put the baby pink on it and the cerise, so you want a different array of colours really, so when you look at it, it's not all white or cerise or baby pink or anything like that. You want it complete, you know, to be all different, so not too much water on the brush, you don't need too much. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm very happy with that. So I'm just going to let that dry, and then I will make some more. The next video I do, we'll do individual petaled ones, cutting individual ones, and then we'll go from there. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, a rose, which I'm very, very pleased with. Okay, I will put the green bits on. Like I say, I haven't got any, the only paint clay I've got is the green clay that I've got is air dry. So what I'm going to do is put them in the cooker, let them cook, and then put the green bottom bit on, which is this bit you can see at the bottom here. Turn them into a proper rose, and then they'll be completely finished. There we go. So there's two. I might be able to get a third one over here on there, but I've got a few of these anyway, so if it melts in the oven I'll let you know. Very pleased. Please do send me pictures of the ones you managed to do. Pop them in the comments if you want to. Any problems, any comments, please let me know. The email will be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to me. I'm fairly new to YouTube. Need all the help and the followers I can get. Please pass around. I don't think we do too bad a job on here. And remember, it's Crafts at Home with Lisa. I also have an Instagram page. All the details will be on the next screen. Thanks for watching again, and happy claying with the Fimo clay. Okay, bye.